So what is money? The truth is, most people don't know what it is. So today we're going to discuss whether it has any value. I admit to being one of those people who is chasing the money. And this is because I came from a low-income family that didn't have too much growing up. So at the age of 12 was when I started to work. And this is because I need to help support my family with certain spendings, especially for myself, like for example, the dentist and so on. For a couple of years of my life, I ended up growing up sleeping on the couch during my preteen years. And this was a tough time for me because there was all these other friends that I had who came from families with houses and so on. They had their own rooms. And so I thought that money would fulfill a lot of the problems that I would have. Granted, it would to some extent. But the older I got, the more I realized the more money you have doesn't make you any happier. So then this got me to question, what is money anyways? And is it important? So money was first invented in China and Turkey, and the weight of the coin would determine its value. Later on, other countries such as Greece, Persia, and India, they would start to adopt coins, and they would put a face on the coin to tell you what the value of it was. So fast forward to today, we have the central bank. Now, the central bank is the one at the top of the pyramid, and if you go down, there's all the other bank corporations that follow along. The central bank, they also work with the government. When the government needs money, they go through the central bank. And the central bank issues a bond saying to the government, you need to pay this back. So that is the relation between them. One of the roles of the central bank is to print money. Now, if the central bank ends up printing too much money, then the dollar eventually becomes devalued. Now, why would the bank print too much money? Because people like ourselves want to take out a loan. Sometimes that could be for buying a house or starting a business. And so when we take out a loan, we are promising back to the bank that we'll pay it back with interest. Once we start a credit system or an IOU, that means that the money is no longer circulating. Think about it this way. Unless you are buying something outright, it's not something you fully own. Since we are built on a credit system, the US has $850 billion in cash and $37 trillion in credit, and that's with a T. When people stop getting loans, the only option for the central bank is to cut interest rates. Even when debts cannot be paid, they will take anything they can. So think about it this way. If there's less dollars circulating than credit, why on your online bank statement would those numbers be real? Have you ever thought, oh great, I have X amount of dollars in my bank account. But isn't that kind of odd that you haven't had all that cash in hand at one time? And it's all just digital numbers on a screen? So if you ask the bank tomorrow that you want to withdraw all of your funds, now why would it take the bank a few days to process that? Why would they have a daily withdrawal limit on your account? Of course, this can be for reasons to avoid fraud and whatnot, but think about it. Another reason is, why would you have to keep a certain amount of money in your account for ongoing amount of time? My theory is that the bank doesn't really have this money based on all the theories I was talking about before, like on your credit statement, how it's all digital, etc. And so you ask, where is this money? Where is my money? This goes back to what we were talking about before. The day that you need money out of your account, the bank may need a few days to process that to get their cards in order for housing, for businesses, etc. Now that you know this, think back to the US and how they have less dollars and more credit circulating. Now, does this make sense? So we put value on money because that's what we've been doing throughout history. So it seems like money is worthless, but we need it to survive. Living in a credit system is hard, but now that we have a concept as to money and what it is, here are some tips to help you manage your money. Tip number 1, be conscious about what you are spending in general, but if you have a credit card, be conscious of what you're spending on your credit card. I even have a credit card myself that I use for points, etc., which is great, but you want to make sure that you can be able to pay it back and that you can avoid debts from it, so not overspending. Tip number 2, try not to take out a loan. I know that's very difficult if you want to make a large purchase like a house or start a business, but if you do need to take out a loan, make sure you make a plan of how to pay it back. Tip number 3, invest. If you have to be in this system, you may as well grow your wealth. Tip number 4, explore crypto. Now, this might be a bit controversial and people might side against this, which I totally understand. So please look into this carefully before you invest. And of course, don't invest in any small coins, meme coins, etc. Bitcoin is probably your best bet, but it is something that's worth looking into for alternative methods, but I'll leave that up to you. Tip number 5, try to avoid debts. It's easier said than done, really. A lot of people are in debt at the moment, I understand. But in all, what you need to know, it's important to not be indebted to anyone that you don't know. So what do you guys think about money after all of this and everything we discussed today? Leave a comment and let me know your thoughts.